that I had to tend to. So thank you very much. I'm Steve DeLaRoche. I'm the Special Magistrate for Code Enforcement for the City of Daytona Beach Shores. The way we conduct hearings is there is an agenda. I will call the cases in order. If someone is not here for their case, I will skip it and take those cases that have people present, because I believe that there's no sense in you sitting around watching us do something when the other side hasn't seen fit to show up, and I'd like to get you out of here as quickly and as conveniently as possible. What happens at these hearings is the city has the burden of proof. They go first. They can present testimony, evidence being documents or photographs, and they are required to produce for you anything that they're going to introduce before me. So I will ask if you've received the packet. After the city is done, it is your opportunity to cross-examine them. That is to ask them questions. You can ask them, for instance, when was this photograph taken, or something along those lines. After you're done cross-examining them, I'll give them a chance to maybe clear up anything that was asked in questioning, and then it's your turn. You can introduce evidence, you can testify yourself, you can call witnesses. At any time you are uncertain what is going on, just ask me. We don't pull any tricks here. We want everybody to have their fair day. And if you're uncertain whether you're at a fork in the road, my job is to tell you what it is. I can't tell you what to do, but like a waiter, I can tell you what's on the menu. I can't tell you what to order, okay? All right. First order of business is the approval of the minutes of the last meeting. Now, I understand, as usual, the city staff was the only one that was here. Does anybody have any additions or anything to say about the minutes? No. Hearing nothing, the minutes are approved. The first case that we're going to call is, sorry, the mouse slipped, is case number PCDEF 2023-21. That is Helen Majors as trustee of the Cheryl and Helen Majors Family Trust. Do we have anybody here representing, or are you Helen Majors? No. Okay. We'll skip that one. The next case, and we'll come back to it. By not showing up, you don't get a free pass. The next case is SCDEF 2023-08, which is JK Daytona LLC. Do we have any representative here? And I take it by the fact you're standing up that you're the representative for JK Daytona LLC? Yes. And what is your name?
Shamila Mohammed.
Shamila, what's the last name again?
Mohammed.
Mohammed, okay. All right, Ms. Mohammed, if you wouldn't mind just having a seat in the first row, Ms. Herstein will make her presentation, and then it's your turn. Did you get a chance to get a packet from the city of all of their evidence? Okay, great. Ms. Herstein?
Thank you, Your Honor.
And we'll start, as we always do. Would you mind raising your hand when you have a chance? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Please proceed.
Excuse me one moment while I get the microphone.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. And just a second to advance the slides to the second case.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to ask that each of the documents included in this PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not by the city for this case, be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate and all of which have been provided to the respondent for the record.
Okay, Ms. Mohammed, do you have a legal objection to anything contained in the packet?
Sure.
Okay, then it will be accepted into evidence. Ms. Herstein, do we have an authority to represent on Ms. Mohammed's behalf?
We do not. However, I deal exclusively with Ms. Mohammed as the general manager of the hotel.
Okay.
And have for some time now.
All right, so we're satisfied that she didn't just sneak in and try to represent somebody. Okay. Please proceed.
Gwen Herstein, Code Enforcement Officer Coordinator for the City of Daytona Beach Shores. This is an initial hearing for a non-conforming sign remaining after the 10-year period for removal, plus the 1-year extension, which was granted by the City Commission. I do have a picture up for you, and just want to clarify. This picture is showing one property here. This is the Akotiki Hotel, excuse me. The tiki head with the pink box around it was one that was specifically excluded from having to conform to the sign regulations. You'll see it in the code that
Right, I remember reading that.
that was one of, I think, 3 exclusions which were made over 11 years ago. The green boxed sign is another sign on the property. That was the Traders Restaurant and I think a lounge or bar sign, and it was not excluded from meeting the requirements. Basically, as with other non-conforming signs, letters of reminder about the availability of grants were sent at different times along the 11-year countdown period. Most recently one in April, May of 2021 and September of 2022. A notice of violation was generated for this particular sign in the green box. Good service was achieved in May, also by hand delivery. Also in May, hotel reps contacted city planner Noel Eaton about possible variances due to the parking arrangement of the property and a wall immediately to the south of where this, you can see it in the picture, where this sign sits, that would be blocking the view of a lower sign if it stays in its current location. So they were working with Noel Eaton at a time briefly.
Okay.
But I allowed that to, wanted that to play out as it was going to, so that they had the freedom to do what they wanted to try to do. No submissions were made to Noel, so almost 3 months later, I sent and hand-delivered a statement of violation request for hearing and notice of hearing. Good service was achieved for that, those notices, and that was by hand delivery as well. Since then, I've spoken with the general manager, Shamila, 3 times, including yesterday, spoken and texted. Yesterday, we learned that part of the delay with placing a new sign is because a new flagship and restaurant are being considered for the property, so they hate to put a new sign in place when it's not going to be one that they want to stick with. I did discuss with Shamila at that time that we would request 90 days, which is consistent with some of the others who are experiencing similar issues, to correct, and that if no decisions had been made after the 60-day period, she'd still certainly have time to simply remove this sign and its appurtenances and pole as they continue to deliberate what they wanted to do, bringing her into compliance. She doesn't need the new sign to be compliant.
That was one of my questions. They can just remove the sign. They don't have to put something there.
It is,
Okay.
in some instances, it is a large money savings. I've been told approximately $5,000 in some cases. That's just 2 examples that I've heard. To utilize parts of the foundation and or parts of the original pole. And so we would like to allow them some freedom to do that, but I don't want to extend it longer than 90 days because it is still one of the few remaining non-conforming signs in the city. So today we're requesting that you find the property in violation with an order number 7, that you give 90 days or until November 22nd to correct, including final approval on all required permits, or fines of $150 per day would begin. We also request reimbursement of administrative fees in the amount of $149.09. There's an affidavit for that in your packet on page 5B-21. And I did want to just, because I have them in there for you, that was the trader sign before the hurricane on the top left. You can see after the hurricanes, the faces were blown out. And there, the bottom 2 pictures are the ones showing much of what it looks like today. They did clear out the LEDs, which were all.
Right, I noticed that in your timeline notes.
Very much. That was done promptly after our request. And that's the city's case.
Okay. Ms. Mohammed, do you have any questions for Ms. Herstein?
No.
Okay. Do you have anything that you'd like to say on behalf of the property?
I would appreciate if you get a 90-day period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to testify, or are you just going to ask me for 90 days?
I'm going to ask for 90 days.
Okay, then I'm not going to put you under oath. Okay, I am going to find a violation. I'm going to issue an order number 7, which finds you in violation, gives you a time period, 90 days until November 22nd, to correct the violation. After the 90 days runs, it's $150 a day until the violation is corrected, and administrative fees of $149.09. Can you pay that within 30 days?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to order that within 30 days. Is it clear what happened?
Yes.
All right, I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sir, you were here before the two ladies walked in. What case are you here on?
It's for Will Williams, and I believe it's 5D 3738 South Atlantic Avenue.
Okay, let me see. 3738 South Atlantic.
Right.
WLW Capital LLC.
Yes, sir.
Okay, case CDEF 2023-06. And your name is?
Paul Berkeley.
Paul Berkeley?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, then that will be the next one that we take. Would you mind sitting where Ms. Mohammed was? That way I have everybody in my view. And I am pretty sure you can hear Ms. Herstein from there.
Yep.
Okay. And I know you're going to need a minute to, because I'm hopping around.
That's okay. I'm getting better at hopping. With you. Gwen Herstein, City of Daytona Beach Shores Code Enforcement Officer Coordinator. I'd like to first ask that each of the documents included in this PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not by the city for this case, be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate and all of which have been provided to the respondent or their representative. And actually they were provided to the representative this morning. We do have authorization to answer questions for the gentleman present.
Okay. Mr. Berkeley, did you receive the packet from the city?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you had a chance to look through it?
I did.
And do you have a legal objection to me considering anything of that as evidence? All right, then it will be received into evidence. All right, Ms. Herstein, please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an initial hearing for 11 violations, the most serious of which has to do with part of the roof failing at the mansard on the east building face and possibly behind it. Of these violations,
Before you go any further, what is this? Is this a hotel, a condo, an apartment building?
it is listed with the city as, I believe, a hotel motel, a motel.
Okay, from the pictures you showed me, I wasn't sure what it was. Not that it really matters, but it gives me a little more context. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Violations A through K. I would like to note, before getting too far into it, the violation K, I did re-inspect the property this morning because I'd been told they'd been working on some of the things. Violation K can actually fall off this notice of violation as it has been rectified. None of the other violations have been completely rectified. In November, nope, I sent in a notice of violation on June 9th, and good service was achieved by certified mail for 2 addresses of record for this property. No contact was made to the code enforcement office, so within 2 months I re-inspected and re-evaluated. All violations had remained at that point, so I generated a statement of violation, a request for hearing, and notice of hearing, and sent them by certified mail. Also on August 14th, I hand-delivered copies to Mr. William Williams Jr. He's an officer of the company and also listed as the registered agent. I was lucky enough to be able to meet him there. I've had follow-up conversations and emails with Mr. Williams over the last 10 days, and as I said, I do have an authorization to answer completed from Mr. Berkeley. While Mr. Williams thought he could probably bring these violations into compliance within 6 weeks, because there are some unknowns to what the roof repair will require, and I suggested that he be given 3 months. I'm happy if he gets it done in 6 weeks, that's fantastic. It will require engineering to rectify whatever's going on with the roof. I was told this morning that they may have that already lined up,
Okay.
which is excellent. And so if they have more time than they need, that's okay with the city. We suggested initially that they be given 3 months. And then in our back and forth, Mr. Williams said, yes, I understand what you're saying and what I need to do a little bit better. I may even ask for 4 months. And the city is amenable to giving the 120 days, and that's part of our request.
Okay.
I'd like to take you through the violations with pictures briefly.
Please.
Violation A, weeds are over 12 inches high, landscaping bed east of the building. You can see the top picture was back in May, and it had only gotten worse by the time I re-inspected. Some of that has been cleared out, but not fully by this morning.
Okay.
But they have taken some steps. Violation B, the siding is in disrepair on the large shed near the south property line. I indicated, the picture on the bottom left gives you sort of an overview of the west part of the property, and that's the shed in question, the one the arrow is pointing to. That has remained unchanged. The property to its south is what you're looking at with all the overgrown weeds, and that's its own separate property and will have its own separate
Okay.
violation.
See
But
that.
it did obscure our view just a little bit.
Okay.
Violation C, stucco missing at the northeast corner of the building. You can see that looks very much the same from May to August. Violations D and F, roof overhang appears to be weakened, may not be fully fastened and supported, east building face, and the roof overhang is visibly drooping along the east side. You can very clearly see the middle picture on the right with the lines. Those are straight lines inserted through the PowerPoint program, and you can see where the top is not contiguous, partly due to there not being a piece of flashing, a long piece of flashing that's required to be up there, but partly by the way the rest of the roof is sitting, and you can clearly see how it's dipping down in the front. Violation E, dumpster enclosure appears to be structurally unsound, top to bottom crack at the southwest corner, and that has remained the same. These fronds have been removed from that area, though they still are present on the property, so hopefully that's something that they can remove for us. Violation G, roof is missing, drip edge along top and bottom of the east overhang. And you can see, though, they did add a tarp along the top. You can see that dip right in the middle of the tarp where the top overhang is not present still as of August 11th. And that looked much the same today. Violation H, it previously read fascia is missing at northeast corner of building and south end. There's no fascia on the south end, so I'm not really certain. I think I was trying to combine soffit and fascia into one and really did not do that properly, so I've X'd out the word and south end.
Okay.
It's really a piece of soffit that's missing, and hopefully they will rectify that while they're taking care of these other issues. And I have every reason to believe that with the people involved now that they will. Violation I, dumpster enclosure is missing, missing gates which formerly face northwest. Dumpster is exposed to view from street, which is a violation, and that's the way it appears this morning, except the palm fronds have been removed. Violation J, dead plant material and weeds in landscaping bed east of the building. There is still, as of this morning, dead plant material and weeds in the landscaping bed. This is the one that we're pulling off. As of this morning, they have some of this shrub bush, multiple shrubs, are on the neighboring south property, and on their property they have trimmed back everything that is on their property and is their responsibility to trim.
Okay, good.
Our request is that you find the property in violation with an order number 7, giving 90 days, which is until, giving 120 days, which is until December 22nd, 2023, which includes obtaining approved final inspections on all required permits, or fines of $250 per day will begin. We also request reimbursement of administrative fees in the amount of $162.89, and there's an affidavit for that on page 5D-23.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Berkeley, do you have any questions for Ms. Herstein?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Berkeley, is there anything you'd like to present on behalf of WLW?
It's all led to miscommunications. We were really not aware. For like 10 days ago, we finally, this picture came to us, so we want to confirm anything.
Oh, okay. Mr. Berkeley, would you come up?
Thank you.
All right. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. So what you're telling me is you were unaware that there were ongoing code violations?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Do you dispute the fact that there were code violations?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. So we're at the part where I'm going to ask you how much time you need. 90 and 120 has been spoken of. I would suggest you ask me for 120 because at $250 a day, if you fall short, it gets very expensive. Time today is free. Time on the other end is not.
Right.
So how would you like 120 days to fix this?
I would like to
All right.
have 120 days to rectify all problems.
Great. Okay, I'm going to find violations A through J have been proven by the city. Order that you get them corrected within 120 days, or $250 per day will be assessed, and I'm assessing administrative fees of $162.89. Can you pay that within 30 days?
Right. Can we pay that today?
Oh, I imagine so. Sure. I honestly have no idea where you pay this. I just assess the fine, and
Right.
then I'm assuming people pay it. All right. I'll give you 30 days, but today would be great.
Okay.
Do you understand what's happened here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. You can continue to watch, or you're free to leave.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ladies, I'm assuming that you are my first case, which is
Sir,
Helen Majors?
just
Okay. Let me give the city a chance to,
Okay, it's City Hall. Is that
Thank you, Your Honor.
all right. When you're, do you need time to reset?
I'm just going to shift to that appropriate page in the PowerPoint, and I'll be ready.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Berkeley.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right. Calling the first case which was on the docket, PCDEF 2023-21, Helen Majors as trustee of the Sherrill and Helen Majors Family Trust. And I take it you two ladies, one of you may be Helen Majors? You are. Okay. All right. It's easier for me if you would sit there. Ms. Herstein, did you have a chance to give them the packet?
The packet, I believe,
Yes.
was presented by Steve Edmonds. So
Okay, great, great. You were not here for my instructions, so I'm going to go through with you what's about to happen, okay? The city, please sit down, be comfortable.
She's hurt herself, so that's why we were late.
Okay.
Sorry.
The city has the burden of proof to show that there is a violation of the city code. So Ms. Herstein has a chance to testify herself. She's been previously sworn. She may offer documents into evidence. She may offer photographs. She may call another witness. At the end of her presentation, you have a chance to ask her questions, that is to cross-examine her. After you're done with your questions, I'll give her a chance to follow up if she needs to, and then it's your opportunity to present whatever you would like. You can testify yourselves, you can call witnesses, you can show me photographs or documents, and then I will make a decision. Okay, do you understand what we're doing this morning? Okay. Ms. Herstein?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to ask that each of the documents included in this PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not, by the city for this case be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate and all of which have been provided to the respondents this morning.
Okay. Ms. Majors, have you had a chance to look at the packet? Is that a yes? Okay. Would you mind answering audibly? Because believe it or not, there are actually people watching this on the internet. And they can't see you shake your head. All they can do is hear you. Okay? Do you have a legal objection to any of the documents?
Legally, yeah.
Okay. What is your legal objection?
I don't have to stand up there, do
I'm sorry?
I? Do I have to stand up there? Let me talk.
If you're going to express a legal objection to the introduction of evidence, I need to know what it is.
Because I have no idea what this is about.
Okay? That's not,
Yeah, I mean, legally, we did what we were supposed to.
okay, ma'am, and I'm gonna give you a chance to explain. This is a little bit of a trap for somebody that doesn't practice law. Under the Florida Evidence Code, which is Statute 90, the city can bring things before me to have it considered. A legal objection would be, for instance, if they introduced a document, but they only introduced half of the document. Legally, they have to introduce the complete document. Or if they were to enter this photograph you see, and they had somehow manipulated it so that it didn't actually show the whole building, or the building looked different, or in some way, that would be a legal objection. Do you have one?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to accept the packet into evidence. And I will give you a chance to tell me whatever you would like, okay? But Ms. Herstein gets to go first, because if she fails to prove her case, then I'm not going to give you a chance to say anything. I'm just going to dismiss your case. Okay? So she has the burden of proof. So putting extra pressure on you, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Gwen Herstein, Code Enforcement Officer, Coordinator for the City of Daytona Beach Shores. This is an initial hearing for a condo unit in this building that you see the picture of. That is not my picture, but is a representation for you of the building called
Okay.
Cloverleaf South. For a condo unit obtained, for permits obtained in 2020 for updates to the kitchen and bathroom. Unfortunately, by November 13th, 2020, no final inspections were called for, nor was any kind of an extension requested, so the permits, both permits expired. The building permit obtained and the plumbing permit obtained, both permits expired. In 2021, the cabinet company was contacted twice and the plumber 3 times about the expired permits. Neither permit was reinstated or reobtained.
And who contacted the 2 contractors, the city or Ms.
That-
Majors?
That can be seen, nope, that would be somebody with the city, and I can tell you exactly who, based on page 5A6 and 5A8. If you look at 5A6, those contacts are listed with the date, what was stated, and it looks like Muriel Lamb called to inform them of the expired status of this permit, and it was the permit obtainer, not Ms. Majors or Ms.
Okay.
Wilshire. Then again, on 3/26/2021, the contractor was emailed that the permit was expired. And the others are just other pieces of information relating to things that we were waiting for when the permits were issued, and that it was forwarded over to the Code Enforcement Office. The other is much the same, but has a third point of contact, probably again by permit technician Muriel Lamb. And yes, that's what I see. Emailed contractor on page 5A8, email contractor, permit expired. On 3/26, on 9/27/21, called and spoke with Misty about the expired status of the permit. She is working on it. On 11/16 of 2021, called and spoke with Misty about the list of expired permits that remain open, including this one, all by Muriel Lamb, one of the permit technicians
Okay.
for the city. A set of consolidated notices was sent. Basically, same plumber, same building. I came upon through a title search another similar situation with one of these contractors. It was the plumber, and saw that he had others in this building. And frequently, we will consolidate and send multiple notices that are in that same category, same building, same contractor, because then the contractor can consolidate, and we do get better results that way.
Okay.
Rather than them coming in for one and coming in for another 2 months later, they can sometimes knock out 4, 6 expired permits if they have them. And this one called my attention because there were others. And so that was what prompted this notice of violation to be sent when it was. Good service was, and we have gotten results on most of those other permits incidentally. Good service was achieved for the notice of violation that was sent to these homeowners on June 12th. And that was by certified mail. The next day, I got a call from Ms. Brookshire, and we discussed the issues. She planned to, when we were finished on the phone, reach out to the plumber and the cabinet company who had installed the granite. And that same day, I heard from Tiago with Volusia Granite saying, please give me what I need so that I can do this for these ladies. And I emailed that, all that information to him at that time. That was on June 13th. On August 11th, I reevaluated, found that no replacement permit applications had been submitted. That was almost 2 months later. So I sent the statement of violation request for hearing and notice of hearing, and good service was achieved on those. 2 days later, I heard from Ms. Brookshire again. She had been told that it was going to be rectified, so thought that it was, but it had not been. We have received, we have shared 5 calls at least back and forth. Ms. Brookshire following up to find out if they have submitted, both companies have submitted what they were supposed to submit. We have received the replacement plumbing permit application. That is in the office, ready to be reviewed along with the replacement building permit application. So I told her yesterday when she followed up, she's done a great job following up since in the last 10 days. I told her I would reach out myself to Tiago. I had shared this email with him. I recalled a phone conversation that I'd had with him where he very clearly stated he was going to make this right. So I reached out yesterday afternoon and again this morning. I spoke with him this morning. He said that he would be coming in. It was a notarization problem he was having. I told him we have generally 3 notaries available at City Hall, just on the 2nd floor, and he said, and free for this purpose, exactly, building permit forms, and he said he would be in within 2 hours, and that was about 5 minutes after 10 this morning.
So it may already have been
well,
on its way.
It may have been submitted, but we haven't gotten to the end, which is actually the permits being issued, which would make
Right.
part of it. And then we'd like further to get to the end with approved final inspections. So this is completely behind all of us. I can leave Ms. Majors and Ms. Brookshire alone, and that's the goal. But
Okay.
at this point, I don't see any way that it is compliant because the permits would have to be issued as well after being reviewed by the building official who's in this room.
Right.
So I'm bringing the property before you. Before I give a recommendation, I would like to ask the building official to join us on the podium to ask him a few questions for the record.
Morning, Steve. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please introduce yourself, what you do, and how long you've been doing it.
Steve Edmonds, I'm the building official. I've been here going on 20 years now, and I do all the plan reviews and inspections sometimes.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve. Are the documents which have been introduced to the record today true and accurate to those that you created, any that you have?
Yes.
And do the events as they've been presented by the city represent a true and accurate account of your understanding of the facts of the case?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and is there any information you'd like to clarify or add to assist the special magistrate in making his determinations today?
The only thing is, just like I say, this is our only avenue to enforce these things by the state of Florida. They do not let us go after the contractors, unfortunately. Our withhold permits from the contractors to do more to make them do that. If they submit a permit, regardless of their past history, I have to issue a permit by law.
Right. I understand. I wish it were
So
otherwise.
unfortunately, this is the only way the only avenue we have. It's not something we like to do. It's just, unfortunately, we have to do it.
Okay,
Thank you, Steve.
thank you.
The city would like to request that.
Oh, wait a second, I'm sorry. Ma'am, do you have any, Ms. Majors, do you have any questions for Mr. Emmons?
That's me.
The main thing we want to know is why we're here. Why aren't those two people that we hired here?
I understand, and I do not like this at all. It's one of the worst things that I have to do, because you paid the contractor, I'm assuming,
Yes.
and they delivered the work, but they didn't sign off on the permit. And that is a violation of the city code, and you have to get them to sign off on the permit. And unfortunately, even though they're the ones that did the wrongdoing, I don't have any power to compel them to do anything, nor can I keep them from transacting business in the city.
We paid for the
I
process.
understand
Can they
that.
not
I-
be fined for not doing the phone call to that man to get it inspected?
Right. Now, you do have other legal remedies. I can't tell you what they are, because I can't give you legal advice, but if you want to check with a construction lawyer, there are things you can do. But you're here because your contractor, two contractors, did not sign off on the final inspection, or sign off on the permit, close the permit rather, and get the property inspected. That's why you're here.
We understand that, but we
Okay.
think they should be here too.
As much as Special Magistrate De La Roche does not enjoy this type of case, I don't either. You've paid your folks that you hired, and they've done work for you. Unfortunately, though, as property owner, the code enforcement office's jurisdiction and laws say the jurisdiction is through the property owner. So it's through you. You invited them into your property to do this work, and that's why I have to come to you to get these results. Although I hope you see that we have supported you on our end where possible, including calling yesterday afternoon and today to say, where are you? So we are doing everything we can, which is above and beyond what's required by any statutes, but we think it's the right thing, so we're trying to support you. The other way that I want to support you is through this recommendation, which even though Tiago indicates that he's going to take care of this today, now, and should be able to call for inspection within a very reasonable, quick turnaround time to get them final approved. In case there's something that's not right and needs to be adjusted, I'm recommending to the magistrate that he give you 60 days rather than a week or 2 weeks, just in case something goes wrong. They still have the ability to fix it and make this right for you.
We appreciate that. We really do.
All right.
We're just dumbfounded.
It's unfortunate. I agree with you completely.
So you're asking for number 7, 60 days, and how much in administratives, please?
Or $150 per day fine would begin, and we're asking for $162.89, which you can see an affidavit for on page 5A22.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, ladies, this is your opportunity to tell me anything you'd like.
Well,
Unless you have any questions for Ms. Hursty.
no, I think I've talked to her every other day for a month, it seems like.
Okay, if you could use the microphone, because like I said, this is being recorded and broadcast. So I have to make whatever record we're making clear. Okay, and your name is?
Catherine Brookshire, I'm an owner of the condo too.
Okay,
We're sisters and we both own it.
all right.
And like I said, since we got the letter, I called, the first letter we
Excuse me,
got,
I'm
we
so
were under the
sorry.
impression
I'm so
that
sorry. Can you hold it closer, please?
Yeah.
It's actually not picking up.
Yes, Steve.
She probably needs to also swear, and I don't know if she.
Well, I didn't know what she was gonna do. So if you're going to tell me about this, then I'm gonna swear you both in. If you're just going to agree that you'll get it done within 60 days, well, there's no reason for me to swear you in, not that there's any problem with that. I will give you 60 days, I will give you 90 days if you'd like.
How do, well, I got a question. She's called these people, they call these, how do we get them to do what they're supposed to do?
Well, like I said, you have legal remedies. I can't tell you what they are. You may want to find a construction attorney who would help you enforce the specific performance of the contractors, because I am sure whatever contract you signed with them for the delivery of the goods and services has obligations. And that's really all I can say, if you get the hint. Okay. Ladies, are you contesting the fact that your permits were not signed off and inspected?
Yeah, they weren't.
They weren't. Okay.
Apparently they weren't.
All right. Well, I'm going to find that there is a violation, issue what's called an order number 7, which gives you a period of time to correct the problem. The city is asking for 60 days. I'm going to give you 90 days because I really, truly do not want to see you again. Because if this is not taken care of, I have to assess $150 a day until it is after the 90 days. I know, the look on your face, that's the way I feel having to do this, but I have a job. Unfortunately, I also have to assess administrative fees of $162.89 against you. Can you pay that within 30 days?
We'll pay it right now.
Okay. As you heard, Mr. Berkeley, I don't know where you do that. I'm assuming the building across the street labeled City Hall. Okay? All right. You understand what we're asking you to do, right? And if you at some time are unsure, the Code Enforcement Department here is outstanding. They're incredibly helpful. Stop by and talk to them, okay? All right. Thank you. If you'll give that back to Mr. Edmonds, you are free to leave if you'd like. Or you can stay. Okay. We have one other matter that was on the docket, and that was the third one, which is Halifax Investments.
Didn't you, hon?
You as well. Absolutely. Call me if you want, and I'll help you with whatever. I can give you another update. Not right now. Second floor, City Hall, but they'll have more information to put on your receipt if you wait an hour to do it, okay? Thank you. I hope you do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Rona.
That's all right. Halifax Investment Services LLC, case CDEF 2023-24. As previously discussed with the representative of the city, we received a continuance from the law firm that is recommending Halifax Investment Services, and I am going to grant that continuance to the next meeting. And while we're talking about it, the next meeting will be Thursday, September 21st at 9 a.m. in this building. Does anyone have any other business for this session? No. Seeing nothing, we are concluded. Thank you. And again, thank you for the city for agreeing to start this an hour and a half late so that I could do the other things that I have to do. When do you want this back? That was actually kind of fun today.
That's